Good morning to all on this glorious day. Please be seated. Members of the Board of Trustees, past presidents, delegates, and special guests, faculty, students, and staff, it is my privilege to formally welcome you to the inauguration of Washington & Lee's 27th President, Dr. William C. Dudley. To get today's program started, the University Singers will perform a special anthem composed by Associate Professor of Music and Director of Choral Activities, Shane M. Lynch, in honor of President Dudley on this, the occasion of his inauguration.
Oh
Thank you, University Singers and Professor Lynch. Inaugurations are occasions for new beginnings, for celebration, and for opportunities for the higher education community at large to show support and to extend congratulations. Just last week at the opening convocation, President Dudley declared that the academic year officially is underway. And similarly, it is our privilege today to declare that the Dudley era is underway. Almost 2 years ago, then President Ken Ruscio announced his intention to step down after serving as Washington and Lee's president for the past 10 years. I then appointed a select search committee to conduct an extensive and far-reaching national search for President Ruscio's successor. It will come as no surprise to you to learn that in the process, we found many candidates would be suitable for this job. In the end, though, we were fortunate that out of this outstanding pool, our top choice, William Dudley, chose to accept our offer to become Washington and Lee's 27th president. Since Will's arrival on campus, he has set about to establish important relationships with the deans, the faculty, the senior staff, students, and alumni groups. It's a process that's only begun and will be pursued rigorously in the year ahead. One of Will's first initiatives was to launch a strategic planning process for the university that will culminate at the end of this academic year in a comprehensive strategic plan that will serve as the roadmap and work plan for the university for the next 5 to 7 years. He has hit the ground running since he has been in Lexington. Like businesses and other institutions, Washington and Lee has many stakeholders. It's become a tradition here to invite representatives from those primary constituencies to extend a welcome to the new president. Those constituencies and their representatives are listed in your program, and I now welcome each to the podium.
President Dudley, we bring you greetings from the faculty. It is our distinct honor and pleasure to welcome you to Washington and Lee and back to Virginia on this auspicious September day. You've been here since early January, and in that time you've already become acquainted with many members of the W&L community. You've made it a point to visit faculty in each and every department and program, and we are very grateful for your interest. Your friendly and forthright manner has already made a favorable impression on us. We all hope you will enjoy many years here.
Last spring, you delivered a magnificent commencement address that revealed much about your personal and professional journey that led you to the presidency of Washington and Lee University. Your undergraduate education was at a small liberal arts school much like Washington and Lee. During college, you studied math and philosophy, and you studied math and philosophy because they captured your intellectual interest. After graduation, you spent several rewarding years in the business community before discovering that you were drawn to the academic life of reading, writing, and thinking, to use your words. You earned a PhD in philosophy, immersing yourself in the writings of German philosophers, and returned to your college alma mater as a philosophy professor, where you happily taught for a number of years. We are fortunate that you share the experience and the values of the teachers-scholars who fill our ranks. We are equally fortunate that you are ultimately persuaded to become an administrator and ultimately our president.
During your presidency, you will face many challenges. Some of those challenges are urgently confronting you and all of us right now. Others, both anticipated and completely unexpected, are sure to arise in the future. We offer you our trust, our support, and our candid counsel as you and we face our current and future challenges and opportunities. President Dudley, we are glad to have you with us.
It is an honor and a pleasure for me to bring greetings and congratulations on behalf of the hundreds of staff members at Washington and Lee University. I have had the privilege of serving the university since 1978 and have seen many changes in the course of those 39 years. Program changes, academic changes, and physical changes. I have also served under 5 previous presidents and 2 acting presidents, each of whom left their mark on this school. Changes occur, presidents come and go, but there are important core values that last from generation to generation. Paying attention to those core values of honor, community, and respect for all individuals has helped make W&L a special and close-knit community. It is a place where others know your name and speak to you when passing, and that applies not only to the professors who know each of their students well, but also to the staff who help students and professors alike achieve more of their potential. That includes everyone from the facilities management staff who get up very early in the morning to set up for occasions just like this, to the dining service staff who prepare delicious meals for hundreds at one sitting, to the staff of our advancement team who help make it possible to raise resources in support of W&L. We all take pride in being part of the team that creates the best possible learning environment. Wins and losses are gauges of how well a team performs. More wins occur when the many different parts of the team work together successfully. As you assume the role of our newest head coach, we look forward to your vision and leadership that will help our team further strengthen and grow this special place, a place where you too will make your mark on the university's future. Welcome, President Dudley.
President Dudley, since you were named president-elect, the mock convention predicted an unpredictable presidential candidate. The contact committee and other organizations have brought several high-profile speakers to campus, and various athletic teams have made unprecedented postseason runs. My task this morning is to welcome you to Washington and Lee on behalf of the student body, but through their actions over the last 8 months of your tenure, my fellow students have given you the true welcome to our community and a taste of things to come that my words never could have. Attendance at mock convention and many other important events would be expected of any W&L president, but you have gone over and above expectations. You've taken a sunrise hike of House Mountain with Outing Club students. You've met with small groups of students to discuss student life. And you have attended countless student research presentations while attempting to dress inconspicuously in a polo shirt and khakis. Though you attend most of these events unannounced, diverting attention from yourself, your presence and support have been quickly noticed by students. Your actions reflect your interest in us and your desire to see each of us succeed inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Although we'll see if the students in your philosophy of education agree with that by the end of the semester. In these and other ways, you've quickly made it clear that you have a deep respect for and commitment to our education, our extracurricular activities, and importantly, our tradition of student self-governance and our honor system. Your early actions in office have engendered a growing consensus of admiration among the student body and an excitement for what you will accomplish in the future. Congratulations. We're glad you're with us.
President Dudley, good morning. I'm Mike McGarry, class of 1987, and it is my great privilege to serve as the president of the Washington Lee Alumni Association, represented by the Trident flags with each of our chapters' names on them. On behalf of our 27,000 passionate alumni, I extend a warm and grateful welcome to you. We are delighted that you chose to join our community and lead our university. By now, you may have noticed that Washington & Lee alumni love this place. We love the faculty and the staff, the town of Lexington, the honor system, the pursuit of academic excellence, our friends, and common experiences shared across generations. We also love the trident, spring term, the ruins, and even the pattern on our bricks. We hope that you too will love the significant and the inconsequential details of our university as much as we do. But we also hope that you will lead us towards continuous improvement. We welcome your experience and insight. We trust that you will guide us on a course that ensures Washington & Lee remains a vibrant and relevant institution of learning for decades and for generations to follow. Please know that you can count on the alumni. You can count on us to enthusiastically support the university. You can count on us to remain passionately engaged and interested in every facet of this university. And you can count on us to let us know what we are thinking. We hope that you will embrace our support, honor our obsessions, and know that our concern stems from a shared love of Washington & Lee. President Dudley, welcome to the family. As you lead us forward, know that you are welcome not only here in Lexington, but around the world, anywhere a general lives or a trident can be spotted.
President Dudley, I bring you warm greetings and well wishes from your neighbors, the citizens of Lexington and Rockbridge County. Beyond this campus is a unique community, an extension of the classrooms located within these hallowed walls. The university's extraordinary students have achieved exceptional things in our city. A region-wide poverty study, which is still used by our jurisdictions to this day. Historical and archaeological research of our downtown and cemeteries, participants in the political process, creating documentaries on relevant topics, student teaching and tutoring in our schools, a lively spirit of volunteerism throughout the community, and so much more. You are in the fortunate position to impact the lives of students from the academic perspective, while impacting our entire community with that perspective, that insight, resources, and vision. Washington & Lee needs a president, but just as important, the community needs Washington & Lee and its president. We are in challenging times in this world and in our own small corner of it. We trust the opportunity that you have to shape our future decision makers and problem solvers, that you will instill in them the ability to break barriers, to build bridges, and tear down walls. We trust the relationships forged here at Washington & Lee will integrate inclusivity and diversity, create sustainable partnerships, and ensure a continued spirit of cooperation. So, as you are officially welcomed to Washington & Lee campus and Lexington, we look forward to your immersion into the fabric of our city, and that it will remain home to you for many years to come. Welcome, President Dudley.
Greeters, thank you for joining us today. Our first speaker today is Gregory M. Avis, co-founder of the venture capital and private equity firm Summit Partners of Menlo Park, California. Mr. Avis is a graduate of Williams College, a past chair of the Board of Trustees, and an ardent supporter of that fine institution. Will you please join me in welcoming Mr. Avis?
Thanks very much. It's indeed a privilege to be here today at this just incredibly beautiful campus to introduce Will Dudley. I've had the pleasure of working with Will in my capacity as trustee at Williams and in his roles as educator, campus leader, provost, golf partner, and good friend. This occasion, as wonderful as it is a bit of a test of my allegiance. After all, we gathered to celebrate Washington and Lee's gain at Williams' expense, a circumstance that we Eves would generally try to avoid, particularly if it were the occasional athletic contest between the two schools. Will Dudley has been a dedicated Williams alumnus and servant, and he and I will forever share that purple bond, but you can be sure that since January, his loyalty has been to the royal blue and white of W&L, and it will not waver. In truth, we could be not more proud of Will as he embarks on this new adventure. You have made a wise choice and have a very special person as your leader. As an educator, Will is unusually good in the classroom. This is due largely to his fundamental belief in the study of philosophy as a calling, a passion that is reflected in his infectious enthusiasm and extreme attentiveness and care for his students. His highly popular philosophy of sport class showcased Will's ability to explain difficult concepts and his craftiness in using baseball to reveal Hegel. U.S. President and Williams alumnus James Garfield, in speaking of noted educator and longtime Williams President Mark Hopkins, was purported to observe that, quote, the ideal college is Mark Hopkins on one end of a log and a student on the other. Substitute Will Dudley for Mark Hopkins, and the statement is equally true. As a scholar and administrator, Will is an expert explainer, but only after he utilizes his substantial intellect and doggedly conducts research, solicits opinions, and asks questions of himself and others. Will's insights into opaque subjects like the college's financial model and German idealism turn glazed expressions into laser-like attentiveness. Will was an exceptionally good provost at Williams, willing to accept input and criticism, focused on results, and though challenged at times in this very intense job, patient and even-tempered. During his tenure as both a serial committee chair and provost, Will was a steadfast champion of student and faculty diversity and inclusion, and worked hard to improve student life, financial aid, and faculty resources. But if you really wish to understand Will, it's not from his CV, it's from knowing his character. At heart, Will is old-fashioned. He only recently gave up his persimmon wood golf clubs and his ancient Subaru, but I still think he wears pleated pants. Will understands and honors tradition, but is careful to allow the past to inform the present and future, not dictate them. He is dedicated, loyal, frugal, serious, funny, and principled. He is a fantastic father. Most of all, in the words of one of his colleagues, Will is relentlessly honest. Given his scholarly interest, it's not surprising that Will is intensely interested in what is right, what is ideal, but not necessarily for him, but for the institutions and the people he leads and cares about. Not unlike the ancient Greeks, Will aspires to live his life holistically as a principled union of mind and body. There are no shortcuts for Will. It is not surprising that his two favorite athletic pursuits have been swimming and golf. For swimming requires ultimate discipline and stamina, and golf, as John Updike writes, so transforms one's somatic sense, in short, that truth itself seems about to break through the exacerbated and, as it were, debunked fabric of mundane reality. Classic Updike. As accomplished and talented as he is, Will is not perfect. I've witnessed missed 3-foot putts, occasionally upset college community members, and 1 or 2 failed endeavors. But very few humans take responsibility and learn faster from their mistakes than the always humble Will. And also adhering to the Greek literary tradition of nostos, which means coming home after a long journey, Will has come home to Virginia. I am privileged to know Will as a skillful leader, passionate humanist, and loyal friend. And Will is fortunate to have come back to Virginia to guide this great university as you are to have chosen him for the helm. Congratulations, Will, and best wishes to you and Washington and Lee as you embark on this academic year. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Our next speaker is Mr. Stephen G. Poskanzer, President of Carleton College. Mr. Poskanzer has served as president of Carleton College since 2010, and prior to assuming the presidency there, he has held numerous positions in higher education, both public and private. Please join me in welcoming Stephen to the podium.
Good morning. It's a double-dipped personal and professional privilege for me to be part of today's inauguration. First, because I have deep respect for Washington and Lee. And second, because in Will Dudley, you have an extraordinary leader who will help steward the university to even greater heights. A rare and lovely constellation of circumstances has brought Will and W&L together at this time. Other speakers have very accurately described Will's remarkable academic and scholarly achievements. Rather than simply repeating highlights from his curriculum vitae, I will just say that of the relatively small set of persons I know who are both capable of and truly ready to assume the responsibility of taking care of one of the nation's premier institutions of higher education, Will was beyond a doubt the most talented and the most ready. He's deeply intelligent, with superb intellectual taste that lets him make fine but vital distinctions about quality. He sees around corners into the future where new ideas percolate and new disciplines emerge, and he can embrace needed change. He has rock-solid academic values, and he acts with an integrity that provides him and all around him with a sure touchstone of how to treat colleagues and students and community members. I think you're already experiencing Will's gift for this pastoral aspect of university leadership. He treasures the diversity of backgrounds and perspectives that together lead to better decisions and better education. He's also a truly kind and good man. Just as significantly, W&L is the perfect fit for Will and for his family. I wish all of you could have heard the joy in his voice when he accepted this post. This was the place where he wanted and needed to be, and which he has embraced as his home. I'm confident that many years from now, your community will look back on this partnership and this presidency with warranted pride. And my optimism is matched by my gratitude that Will Dudley is at the helm of this university, because his leadership, wisdom, honor, and innate decency will make him an essential voice as our nation's best colleges and universities take up a pressing challenge, namely, addressing the diminishment of thoughtful, respectful, and productive discourse over divisive issues in both broader society and in academic communities. We face yawning economic, political, and cultural gulfs that arise from stagnating incomes, inequality of social capital and personal opportunity, entrenched prejudice of many kinds, environmental degradation, and other deep-rooted problems. We face heightened fears over the pace of change, the disruption it engenders, and our abilities to secure a bright future for the next generation. These gulfs and fears are exacerbated by mass media that enable us to cocoon ourselves among those holding the same opinions, and by social media that enable us to fire off ill-considered, obtuse, and even purposefully insulting comments without looking the recipient in the face. These gulfs and fears are stoked by hate mongers and exploited by demagogues. Little wonder, then, that many of us have heightened anxieties as to whether our views and perspectives, and even our very presence, are respected and valued where we live and work. We desperately need citizens and leaders in the United States and across the globe used to encountering, embracing, and working across and through difference, who are truly comfortable and eager to plumb the depths and test the boundaries of these gulfs and to ameliorate these fears. We need citizens and leaders who are alert to their own misperceptions and who seek to understand and respect opposing views, who have learned how and can teach others how to respond productively to painful remarks or wrongful acts. We need citizens and leaders who will bravely wade into fractious debates to share their well-considered opinions and will open dialogues to find solutions rather than to win arguments. And we need citizens and leaders who are supremely skilled at looking for and strengthening the common human threads that can mitigate or transcend difference. These are daunting requirements, but I believe a key part of the solution lies close at hand. Because residential liberal arts colleges and small universities ought to be the perfect incubator and proving ground for thoughtful, engaged citizen leaders who have developed precisely the skills and personal qualities I've just articulated. At places like Washington and Lee, we've assembled in one spot several thousand deeply intelligent, earnest, and well-intentioned young people, eager to be with and learn from folks with very different backgrounds and perspectives. We've also assembled hundreds of faculty and staff who are deeply devoted to these young people, who are committed to helping them learn and grow, and who can model productive discourse and behavior. Among those faculty ranks are many scholars and teachers who are experts on the very issues that confront society and on effective communication skills. We've purposely brought all of these individuals together in ideal physical settings that are conducive to reflection and deliberation. These colleges and universities are small enough in size that it's necessary for students to encounter very different others on a daily basis. So you roll all of this together, and we have an extraordinary opportunity. Indeed, I would argue an extraordinary responsibility to produce graduates who are supremely skilled at and who embrace the importance of talking and learning and working across divides, who value both our differences and our commonalities, and who seek to bridge the former and enhance the latter. How can colleges and universities actually do this? There will be no one-size-fits-all solution. Much will depend on the culture of and the leadership at specific institutions. But as a starting point in defining and delivering the kind of education and nurturing the kind of graduates for which I am advocating, I would identify 4 key elements of a forward-looking and life-enhancing college education. First, we must purposefully inculcate the skills of listening to others, trying hard and seriously to understand and respect where they're coming from and what they have to say. We must inculcate the skills of empathy, or trying to put oneself in another's shoes, of being vulnerable, of tolerance and forgiveness, and especially of mutual trust. Just like the old joke goes about how do you get to Carnegie Hall, the answer is practice, practice, practice. Inculcating these skills in our students, and for that matter in ourselves, will require repeated effort and involve stumbles and discomfort. I anticipate that we will need intentional, regular, sustained, inclusive dialogues led by skillful facilitators where participants practice talking openly about their backgrounds and their perceptions of on-campus and off-campus events. Participants must honestly believe and accurately perceive that they can be candid and exposed in these exchanges, and that they will not be ostracized or judged by their fellows. Perhaps this will necessitate new curricular requirements. Perhaps it is best done in extracurricular settings, We simply must find appropriate means to teach us how to listen better, to recognize our blind spots, to take ownership of our inevitable mistakes, and to learn and grow together. What else will contribute to a college education that promotes thoughtful, respectful, and productive discourse and a healthier world? We need housing, dining, and other extracurricular and social arrangements that compel regular contact with very different others. And in these settings where co-curricular learning is meant to occur, students themselves will need to take the lead in holding difficult, sometimes blunt, one-on-one conversations that may begin with or quickly elicit expressions of raw feelings, but that can lead eventually to engender increased respect and friendship. Note here that in contrast to those who may claim that a traditional residential college experience is about to be rendered obsolete by distance learning and other technologies, this vision calls for a reaffirmation of the educational value that's derived from students and faculty and staff living and working in close physical proximity with one another. Third, we must recognize that intellectually rigorous and respectful discourse defines our realm. Different kinds of discourse have different characteristics, rules to guide engagement, and appropriate venues. In colleges and universities, discussions and debates are fundamentally intellectual, based on verifiable evidence, and lead to the careful weighing of competing ideas and to judgments based on the actual merits of arguments. Of course, this is more complicated than it sounds. Each of us brings to the task of scholarly assessment cognitive biases, preconceived notions, culturally based assumptions, many of which we may not even be aware. We must try to identify and correct for these, and be open to, even to be grateful for, their exposure. The academic institutions of which we are a part have their own blind spots and hard-baked inequities too, and it is right to call them out and adjust for them as well. But the core and essential nature of debate in the academy is about ideas. It is driven by calm rationality. While emotion may sometimes be drawn upon to show urgency, it should neither dominate nor determine the outcome of the discussion. So as we work to inculcate the desired skills and personal qualities in our graduates, and to build the kind of educational community we seek, we must stay true to the highest values that animate the purpose and functioning of colleges and universities, such as the freedom to articulate and pursue ideas wherever they may lead, and intellectual honesty and modesty. Fourth and finally, progress will require a shared belief that this is important work and will require our shared engagement in this endeavor. We all have roles to play. College presidents must forthrightly discuss why it is essential for our schools to focus on meeting this global need. Boards of trustees must endorse this direction, and academic and administrative leadership across institutions must seek ways to align their work with this goal. Faculty, who are the longest-term guardians of institutional values and always the driving force in educational matters. Faculty will need to model, both in their classrooms and in their more informal exchanges with students, how to respect and engage with difference. We will benefit from the perspectives of alumni, who know what skills they gained as students and still value, as well as what skills they wish they had acquired that have proven essential in later life. And very importantly, we must hear from today's students who can share with us the particular hurdles they encounter as members of their respective communities. When skeptics increasingly decry the value of a liberal arts degree, this should be the very moment when we make a truly compelling case for precisely the life-changing, vista-opening, broadly based, sweeping, versatile education that we can provide better than any other kind of institution in the educational firmament. By contributing to this endeavor, Washington and Lee can help transform a divisive political and cultural moment into a time of deeper and lasting understanding. With Will Dudley as your guide, and with a community drawing upon the bold and generous spirit that I've witnessed here in abundance, I believe that you will achieve this noble aim. Thank you.
Thank you, President Poskanzer. President Dudley, will you please join me at the podium? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of office of President,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of office of President,
to which I have been elected by the trustees of Washington and Lee University,
to which I have been elected by the trustees of Washington and Lee University,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
without fear or favor,
without fear or favor,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our President.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. I know it's warm out there. Hang in there. There's only one more speech. Thank you, Rector Childress and the Board of Trustees, for your confidence in me, Professor Lynch and the university singers for such a beautiful piece of music, Professor Delaney and Professor Shaughnessy and all of my faculty colleagues for welcoming me to your ranks and allowing me to join you in what I regard as the best job in the world, sharing our intellectual passions with curious young people, Mary Woodson and our entire staff for making this university shine in every way, Mason Greist and the student body for being the purpose of our work and making our work so much fun, Mike McGarry and 27,000 generals for your undying support of Washington and Lee, Vice Mayor Alexander and the town of Lexington for making me feel so quickly at home, Greg Avis for somehow seeing a college president in me long before I did and mentoring me along the way, Stevie P, which is what they call him at Carleton, confirming he is more hip than I will ever be, for showing me what a great college president looks like and being such a generous colleague. My predecessors, Larry Betch, Tom Burrish, Harlan Beckley, Ken Ruscio, for your deft and devoted stewardship of the university. My friends and family for traveling from far and wide. My daughter Ella for missing an important high school soccer game to listen to her dad give another speech. My deepest thanks go to my parents, Earl and Louise Dudley, who are with us today. I inherited my lifelong appreciation of the liberal arts tradition from them. My father is a 12th generation Virginian, but a first generation college student. Not knowing any better, he attended Amherst, which was possible only because of generous financial aid. The experience enriched his life and enabled his legal career. Most importantly, he met my mother and married up. My mother was the third in a generation of women, third generation in a line of women who went to Smith. My great-grandmother graduated in 1897 and then taught biology at Pomona. She was a pioneer among female science faculty, which was made possible by an education that not only imparted skills and knowledge, but also transformed her self-conception. My mother became a brilliant editor. I learned in the 5th grade never to show her a sloppy first draft, and I made certain she did not receive an advance copy of this address. My family history makes me acutely aware of the power of the liberal arts to help young people discover and achieve their aspirations, and of the importance of making that opportunity available to talented students from all backgrounds and financial circumstances. A presidential inauguration is like an institutional wedding, which I suppose makes me the bride. But even if I am the focal point in my lovely gown of blue, we are here to celebrate Washington and Lee University. What exactly do we celebrate? Who are we? And why did the trustees give the microphone to a philosopher? Washington and Lee is one of the oldest and most distinguished liberal arts institutions in the country. Perhaps that was a time when that sufficed as a self-evident demonstration of our value. But not recently. Indeed, as far back as 1960, when Fred Cole delivered his inaugural remarks at W&L, he lamented, "There continues to be great reluctance to accept the achievement of a liberal education as an end, or even as a means. What good will it do me?" is a persistent question of students and parents regarding the liberal arts. We remain on the receiving end of such skepticism today. Are the liberal arts still relevant in the 21st century? What is the return on investment? Often the doubts take declarative form, such as when Senator Rubio famously announced to the entire nation on television during a presidential debate, "We need more welders and less philosophers." For the record, I have taken an arc welding lesson, and I thought it was a blast. In the midst of this public hand-wringing about the relevance of what we do, we should channel our inner Socrates, who would remind us to remain calm and pose a more fundamental question. We should insist that our critics join us in considering what are the liberal arts. We can clarify their meaning by analogy. Consider the martial arts. The martial arts, literally, are the disciplines that prepare you for war. Although they are ancient, they have never been more popular. Our own provost, Mark Connor, mild-mannered scholar of Irish literature by day, is a longtime student and teacher of the martial arts. They also offer a pretty good return on investment. Last month, Conor McGregor, mixed martial arts lightweight champion, earned $1 million per minute for losing a fight. If the martial arts are the disciplines that prepare you for war, the liberal arts are the disciplines that set you free. The main impediments to freedom are ignorance and alienation. Freedom means not being governed by things we don't understand, by societies in which we're not recognized, by political institutions that do not represent us. Liberal arts education increases our knowledge of ourselves, of the natural world, of the legal, economic, moral, political, historical, and cultural dimensions of human life. The arts in liberal arts does not mean arts or humanities. It means disciplines, which include the arts and humanities, but also, since ancient times, math and science, and by extension, any discipline that puts us in a position to be more self-determining, by giving us tools to understand the world in which we live and to work more effectively to build communities in which every person has the same rights, responsibilities, and respect. Are the liberal arts relevant? Some teachers say there are no stupid questions. I'm not one of those teachers. Are the liberal arts relevant? That is an embarrassingly stupid question. So long as there is a need for freedom, there will be a need for liberal arts education. Freedom is a noble ideal, but liberal arts education is expensive. So how could it be a good value? The answer lies in the fact that although liberal arts education is the antithesis of job training, it also happens to be the best form of professional preparation. It expands our horizons, develops our capacities, and increases our flexibility. Nothing could be more valuable than that in the 21st century. The liberal arts are not soft and weak, but like the martial arts, devastatingly powerful. The members of yesterday's panel on the liberal arts and professions, I like to think of them as 10th degree black belts of freedom, are living proof that the pursuit of one's own intellectual interests for their own sake is an exceptional foundation for accomplishment in any arena, including those with no direct connection to a particular field of study, and for making valuable contributions to society. The problem we face is not that liberal arts education is insufficiently valuable. The problem is that the highest quality liberal arts education is so valuable, there's a moral, social, and political imperative to make it more widely available and affordable. This is a challenge of scale that no single institution can solve, but to which Washington and Lee does and must contribute. How exactly do we go about providing an outstanding liberal arts education? Like Stevie P, I think of the university as an incubator. We are not raising chickens, but we are helping young people raise themselves. We are helping them cultivate their potential. Each year we welcome 470 18-year-olds and 120 first-year law students to our community. We place them in an environment carefully constructed to be conducive to their flourishing. It's small, rural, residential, and resource intensive. It's populated by capable and dedicated peers, professors, coaches, and staff. It's busy. The variety and intensity of curricular and extracurricular activity is astonishing. The incubator never sleeps. I could hear it outside my house all night. At the end of the year, we celebrate commencement by ejecting 500 newly minted graduates from the nest. How are they different, we must always ask ourselves, as a result of the years they have spent in our incubator. We know they are older. Our success rate is 100% on that score. But are they wiser? Do they have a clearer understanding of the goals it is important to pursue? Are they well prepared? Do they have the knowledge and the skills they will need to achieve their important goals? Are they better people? Do they have the character and habits to persevere and succeed when doing the right thing is hard? Are they happier? Do they feel confident about the future and satisfied with the paths they are on? No standardized test can answer these questions. The proof lies in the lives led by our alumni. The five-star generals who return to Washington and Lee each fall, more than 50 years after their graduation, embody the lifelong impact of our educational incubator. The extraordinary support we receive from alumni of all ages is testament to the fact that our graduates are profoundly grateful for the cultivation they received at W&L and committed to ensuring it remains available for the rising generation. And young people of this generation are aware that we are doing something right. We receive 5 applications for every available spot in our incubator. Students are banging on the door. Why? What is distinctive about Washington and Lee? For one thing, we have a lot of lawyers. We lead the nation in lawyers per capita. We are distinguished from small liberal arts colleges in virtue of having a law school. And the fact that the law school is our only graduate school distinguishes us from large universities. Our structure is unique, but intellectually coherent. Legal education is a natural extension of the liberal arts. In virtue of the modes of thinking inherent to the discipline, lawyers are basically better paid philosophers. And the fact that the law is the basis of freedom. Washington and Lee is not just a college that happens to have a law school, but rather a liberal arts university of which the law school is an integral part. We will take every opportunity to make the presence of the law school a meaningful advantage to our undergraduate students and faculty. And we will ensure that our law students and faculty benefit fully from being at a small institution where legal education is enriched by close links to the academic and co-curricular opportunities across the university. Washington and Lee is also the only top liberal arts college with an accredited undergraduate school of commerce and an accredited journalism program. Some regard this as impurity. They are mistaken. Such programs can be, and at other places they are, narrowly technical training. Here they are designed and taught with our liberal arts mission in mind, cultivating capacities that have broad application. John Wilson spoke to this in his inaugural address in 1983. A Yankee with impeccable liberal arts credentials, a Rhodes Scholar with a PhD in English literature for whom our Center for Art and Music is named, Wilson expressed gratitude that, quote, Washington and Lee is not enervated, as are some other liberal arts institutions, by endless debate on the question of the legitimacy of applied knowledge. This we owe, he continued, to General Lee, for his strong commitment was to see Washington College become a center of liberal and professional study, so adjusted as to ensure graduates who had valued learning and mental discipline as ultimately good for their own sake alone, but who could also use knowledge to solve the pressing problems of a prostrated South. The oldest part of the university, the undergraduate college, has the most in common with other liberal arts institutions, but is distinguished by the sustained excellence of its traditional disciplines in the arts, humanities, and sciences. The college is also a driving force in the ongoing academic evolution of W&L, with students and faculty doing increasingly interdisciplinary work in many arenas, including the Mudd Center for Ethics, the Shepherd Poverty Program, and the Ruscio Center for Global Learning. These important initiatives also involve the Commerce School and the Law School. Each of our 3 units is strengthened by its meaningful collaborations with the others, all in the service of our joint university mission to prepare students to think critically act with integrity, and participate as engaged citizens in a global and diverse society. Washington and Lee's distinctive structure and curriculum reflect an abiding institutional spirit of innovation and public service, and the courage to be different, even anomalous, within higher education. Perhaps our most significant anomaly is the extent to which the students run their own incubator. They gain significant experience with the messiness and difficulty of self-governance. Most importantly, they're entrusted with the honor system, which is not a sterile code imposed and monitored by external authorities, but a living culture that asks and expects each student to take personal responsibility for being worthy of the community's trust. Such universal trustworthiness, manifested in and reinforced by the courtesy of the speaking tradition, the practice of looking each other in the eye and exchanging greetings in passing, makes W&L feel, as so many staff have told me, like an extended family. It's the reason our students don't want to leave and our alumni love to come back. We are justifiably proud of our distinctions, but never complacent. Our motto, non incautus futuri, not unmindful of the future, reflects our commitment to self-examination, to asking how we can remain who we are while also getting better, to asking how we can contribute even more to the world in which our students will live their lives. The job of a university president is to translate elevated philosophical questions such as these into tedious administrative processes. Upholding this solemn duty, I initiated strategic planning in the spring. We will spend this year together examining and articulating our strengths and weaknesses, our opportunities and obligations. Washington and Lee can be a national model for 21st century liberal arts education. Our unique curriculum, our tradition of student self-governance, and our culture of trust and civility are a potent educational combination. Our most precious asset is the quality of our community. Great liberal arts education depends upon the talent, dedication, and intellectual diversity that characterize our students, faculty, and staff. In the 21st century, it also depends upon greater racial and social diversity than we have yet achieved. This is critical to our mission and critical to our nation. George Washington understood as much when he explained his own commitment to higher education, which motivated his transformative gift to this struggling academy on the frontier. He said, if it should ever be apprehended that prejudice would be entertained in one part of the Union against another, imagine that, an efficacious remedy will be to assemble the youth of every part under such circumstances as will, by the freedom of intercourse and collision of sentiment, give to their minds the direction of truth, philanthropy, and mutual conciliation. Bob Huntley imagined the realization of Washington's ideal in the inaugural address he delivered in October 1968, only 6 months after the assassination of Martin Luther King. Although no African American student had yet graduated from W&L, President Huntley envisioned an institution which does not wish to cater to any particular ethnic or economic group, but which seeks a diverse student body and faculty where members may share in common only the ability and the conviction to learn from each other. Significant progress has been made over the intervening half-century. The Johnson Scholar Program has enabled Washington and Lee to attract students with the most exceptional promise, regardless of their financial circumstances. Just last week, we announced our participation in the American Talent Initiative, a collaboration of the nation's top colleges and universities committed to enrolling greater numbers of talented lower-income students. Here we're following the lead of Thomas Jefferson, who emphasized the public benefit that would accrue from educating, quote, those talents which nature has sown as liberally among the poor as the rich, but which perish without use if not sought for and cultivated. In the coming years, with the support of our alumni, I know that we will raise the resources to become one of fewer than 40 schools in the entire country that practice need-blind admission, while continuing to meet 100% of the demonstrated financial need for every admitted student. But there is work to do. Among the best liberal arts institutions, we remain the least racially diverse. We are missing out on talent and missing out on an opportunity to make a larger contribution to the future. To fulfill our mission by preparing our students and ourselves to participate as engaged citizens in a global and diverse society, We all need to learn to live and work with difference, to discover and create commonality. We cannot be told how to find ourselves at home with others. As George Washington advised, we need to practice and make it happen. Washington and Lee is unusually well positioned to do this successfully. Danielle Allen rightly emphasized at convocation that trustworthiness, which is the core of our institutional DNA, is the precondition of mutual respect, which is the precondition of being able to talk to each other as equals across differences and about difficult issues. Such high caliber conversation, which we always expect from each other, is the key to building a community in which each individual can thrive and that remains unified as it becomes more diverse. Achieving this here will have multiplier effects wherever our graduates go, as they move into their own communities and bring their experiences from W&L with them. One particular sort of difficult conversation that we need to have and that our nation needs to have concerns history and its relationship to the present. Contemporary struggles with issues of racial inequality have become deeply entangled with debates about the ways that the histories of slavery, the Civil War, and segregation are told and memorialized. Washington and Lee is again unusually well positioned to make an important contribution. Our campus is a living laboratory for the study of these periods in American history. We are seated between Washington Hall and Lee Chapel. Washington did not sleep here, but he made the place possible. Can you imagine a contemporary presidential candidate on national television declaring, as Washington did when he provided the first endowment for an educational institution west of the Blue Ridge Mountains, to promote literature in this rising empire and to encourage the arts, have ever been amongst the warmest wishes of my heart. Lee not only slept here in the house where I sleep, but in the 5 years that he held the position that I now hold, he laid the foundations upon which this university became the one we proudly celebrate today. We would be well served if our current national leaders in either party were as committed to liberal arts education in word and deed as were Washington and Lee. The histories of our namesakes and of our institution and of our nation are delightfully deep and multidimensional. It is a pleasure, as well as a necessity, to read them slowly, with open minds and an appreciation of nuance, with humility that mitigates against easy judgment, never forgetting that disagreement is compatible with mutual affection, and that respectful conversation facilitates communal cohesion rather than corrosion. Danielle Allen reminded us that the enemies of freedom are those who do not wish to participate in an egalitarian project of responsiveness through talk. That will never be us. Upon our university crest is written, Omnia autem probate, test all things. We do this here every day. And the members of our community excel at gathering facts, interpreting them judiciously, and evaluating their significance. Toward these ends, I've convened the Commission on Institutional History and Community. I'm also pleased to support our year-long series of related events. As we embark on this work, we should recall the words of John Elrod, who wisely counseled in his inaugural remarks in 1995, sharing a remembered and celebrated history holds us together. He continued, we are held together no less by our long-standing commitment to the ideals of honor and civility. It does not matter whether your skin is white or whether you are a person of color, whether you are male or female, rich or poor, or whether you are a domestic or foreign student. The only thing that matters at the deepest level of importance is respect for the personhood and the autonomy of each person in this community. This is heavy stuff. These are heavy times. We are prepared to make a difference. But what we do here is also a sheer joy, the joy of learning and of teaching. The best part of my week is the time I spend in my philosophy seminar with 12 first-year students and my colleague, Professor Strong. Time on a college campus is a gift. Let us not forget to celebrate. Washington and Lee is an extraordinary institution, and we are all fortunate to be associated with it. I'm proud to be your 27th president. It is a privilege to work on behalf of and together with every one of you who gives so much of yourself to this place and to one another. I'm excited about our future together. Thank you.
To help us close this morning's program, we will hear once again from the University Singers. Thank you, University Singers. As I close this ceremony, I cordially invite you to join us for lunch on the Stemmons Plaza immediately behind the Colonnade. In the midst of our celebrations, let us not lose sight of the common purpose of this university. What we do here matters, and it is a privilege to be a part of such an enterprise. I wish us all well. We're adjourned.